On this installment of What They Don't Want You to Know About Money, we're going to talk about property. When do you buy and when do you sell? When is it the right time to make a decision to enter into a property, or when is it a good time to exit? Well, the answer to this question is quite simple. It depends on your initial objectives into why you want to get a property. For example, if you're looking at purchasing a primary residence, the thing that will drive your decision is affordability. And affordability is driven by two factors: your income as well as the current prevailing interest rate. When interest rates are low, affordability works in your favor because it means that you can afford a home of a higher value, which will give you a lower repayment because of the low interest rates. So is it a good time to buy property now? I would say yes. If you're looking at buying property, you want to buy when the interest rate cycle is low because it increases and enhances your affordability. However, rule of thumb, don't spend more than 30% of your net income on servicing your property debt or your mortgage, because interest rates come down, but they also do go up. However, from a buying perspective, a buyer's market is generally when interest rates are low and there's a lot of buyers on the market because affordability is in their favor. When do you sell? Well, if you're someone who bought the property when interest rates were low and now they're high, and you're stretched on affordability and your bond repayment is becoming more and more of a challenge, this might be an opportunity for you to consider selling. Another time to consider selling is when you've been in that house for a long time and you have an unrealized profit from that property. An unrealized profit being you bought the property at a low price and it's now worth much more, but until you actually sell it, you don't receive that extra value which they refer to as equity. So when do you sell? Sometimes you sell because your property simply has too much equity and you want to try and at least you reuse those funds on another project or for life situations when life happens. When else do you buy a property? Well, if you're buying for investment purposes, you can buy for speculative purposes. And this refers to my VASAP video where I said always look at the value, the area, and look at the schools, look at the amenities, and look at the plans for a certain area. Watch the VASAP episode to know when to buy, because if you know something is about to happen in a certain area, it's not a bad idea sometimes for investment purposes to get in there for speculative purposes, because you will get tenants and you might realize income. That's the beauty of property, that it gives you two things: income as well as capital appreciation. So the purposes of you buying and selling are either driven by the income you can generate or the capital appreciation you can get when you purchase. And when you sell, you often sell based on affordability as well as simply, life happening. And I'll give you an example. If you are somebody who has children who are now in their teens and you're looking in the next 5 to 10 years becoming an empty nester, you might start looking at disposing of your property, especially if you're in a high value property, which is not easy to sell quickly. So more expensive properties need more time for marketing. So definitely you put it on the market 2 or 3 years before you actually want to get out of it, because sometimes it takes a lot more to get rid of those properties. However, if you're in a property which is affordable in an in-demand area, then definitely property is working for you. So today we just discussed when is it good to buy and when is it good to sell. Look, in any of these decisions, I will always say sit down with your certified financial planning professional or your property practitioner to help you in making the right decision, because there are unintended consequences of the decisions you make. And one of the greatest unintended consequences is called tax. You need to always realize that when you buy a property, there's tax to be paid in the form of stamp duty. And when you dispose of a property, there's still a tax waiting for you in the form of capital gains tax, which is a tax on the percentage which your properties has increased by. And that could hurt sometimes, but I hope we're learning. Keep tuning on and keep learning what they don't want you to know about money.